All right, so we toilet paper, and so they made the new bishop, Myron Horn. He was an institute teacher. He also happened to be our Sunday school teacher. I don't really remember having another Sunday school teacher because our age group was a really tough group. I mean, we had so many boys that they made 2 quorums of deacons. We had 2 different quorums of 12 on that age group, and so that was a lot of boys, and we were tough. I mean, we were busy, active boys. We didn't do anything really bad or anything like that, but we were just active and good sense of humor. Anyway, but most Sunday school teachers didn't last a month. I mean, a lot of them came once, that was it. They had to find a new Sunday school teacher. So finally, they gave us Myron Horn, who moved into the ward. He was an institute teacher, figured he could handle us. And he did. We really liked him, he really liked us, and we all got along. And, he knew how to handle and let the mischievous and the jokes happen at the appropriate time. And so we had him all the way up. They moved him up as a Sunday school teacher. I think we had him ever since we were like 11 years old. We had him all the way up through high school. Even when he was a bishop, he still was the Sunday school teacher for ours because they were afraid to give anybody else to us. But, it was good. And Bishop Horn did it. He's kind of a weird dude, but he had a good sense of humor, and I enjoyed him as our bishop and our Sunday school teacher over the years. He was very, very big on youth, and I think he came at a real good time in the ward, right as we got into an extremely large number of youth in the ward.
So you went on a mission, right?
Yep.
So what was the most memorable moment on your mission?
Well, not too many people know this. Well, most of my family knows, all my siblings know. I turned in my mission call papers the same time Steve turned in his. I got a call to Padova, Italy. He got a call to Seoul, Korea. Steven left on his, but I didn't go on mine. I really wasn't ready to go, didn't want to go. So I didn't go. While Steve was on his mission a year later, I was down at Rick's College and I turned in my papers again. And I had turned in papers and I got a call to Fukuoka, Japan. And I went into the MTC and I was there a month. My heart and head weren't in it. I came home and I didn't go. Then a year later, nobody, I'm like 22 years old, 23 years old. Nobody expected me to go on a mission. There was no pressure, no talk, no nothing. And I worked with President Nash, who's been like a second father to me. We were lucky to have him in our ward and as our stake president growing up. And he and I worked together and got me prepared and ready. I was his personal project to get ready to go on a mission. I turned in my papers. I didn't say anything to anyone. Nobody knew. And one day I came in and I said, "Mom, Dad, I need to show you something." And it was a mission call. They had no clue until I actually had a mission call. And opened it, got the call, was gone, just lickety-split. And I just remember that when he turned it in, one of the things we thought was my problem was it was like I was somehow subconsciously or consciously worried about going foreign, having to learn a language. And so President Nash had turned in a thing, absolutely under no circumstances do you send this guy foreign. I opened up the mission call. I'm thinking somewhere in the United States, clearly, because President Nash said, no way, send this guy. I mean, this is strike 3 if this goes foreign. So I'm expecting someplace in the United States. Busan, Korea. So I get my mission call to Busan, Korea. Stephen comes home like a week later. And I'm going to the very country that he just came home from. Different missions, but same country. So, interestingly enough, I get to the MTC. You have to usually wait a month. Steven's gone back down to college, took my car, went down to college, and he's working part-time as an instructor in the MTC teaching Korean. So I show up my first day in the MTC and I walk in my class. Guess who my teacher is? Stephen. So Stephen's in there as my teacher, and Elder Parker, who is the head of the instructor there, walks in and he looks at me and he looks at Stephen. He goes, "I don't think so." So he switched classes with Stephen. Stephen had taught his class, and Elder Parker took over ours. But I remember Stephen bringing me in the car. He just like, "All right, well, I'm parking. There's where the MTCs, they're wings, and you just come out the end of the hallway, and there's parking there, and that's where the teachers park. You know, they just pull up along curbside to go into the thing." And so when he'd come once a week, well, maybe not once a week, but it seemed like it, but he brought pizza a lot. He'd go pick it up, leave it in the back seat, and our guys would get out of class, and we'd call a pizza party on our break. And he'd bring pizza in there. So anyway, we had some good times. Again, you can see a lot of these practices, there's no real damage done to anybody, and most everybody takes it with with some good humor. I mean, we're pretty creative, but...
What are your lodge memories?
Lodge is a great place. It's where we really got to know family. Problem is, as you know now, as you get into families, they all go their separate ways doing a bunch of different things. But that's a gathering spot that got... Once people go start their own families, you don't hardly see them anymore. But it was weekends where people come up with their spouses and you got a chance to meet. I think that's where I really got to know most of my nieces and nephews. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have. I don't think I would have known Bob's kids. Would have hardly known Rick's kids. Probably wouldn't. You know, I lived fairly close to Tim, so I got to see his kids a lot. And you guys came along later, so
Yeah,
there wasn't a lot of large memories there, but you know, that's where we got to know all of our nieces and nephews. Otherwise, you know, I mean, a lot of the ones that are younger than that, I don't know. And I don't know them because we didn't have that bonding experience, that place where everybody gathers and you got to interact. And the problem is you get these kind of reunions, and they're great. You get to see people you haven't seen for a long time, but people are saying, you know, it's hard to get past the, "Hi, how are you? How you been?" "Yeah, I'm good." "Yeah." You know, it's the same, you know, the warm-up questions is what I call them. But you don't get usually past those superficial warm-up questions. And reunions like this, 3 days, usually not enough time to get past a lot of those, the familiar faces, and everybody recognizes and loves each other and smiles and says hi, but you don't really get to know anybody. And so I think the lodge was that opportunity, and I think that was a great blessing that we had back then, and it's unfortunate now that we don't have something like that.
What were your favorite vacations?
My favorite vacations. As a kid growing up, I remember being lost in Disneyland. I wasn't lost, I was left.
My dad tells me that's really
They left me, but that wasn't a bad thing because they assigned this cute little Disney girl to run around with me and to cut in front of all the rides, and I got to go on everything.